my template for that movie was It Happened One Night.
Oh,
Uh,
really? That's one of my
yeah, because
favorite films. Yeah.
it's funny. I always wonder if people even know that movie anymore.
I want to go back to a movie that I was forced to watch dozens and dozens of times by my children,
With the kids.
which is Beverly Hills Chihuahua, which
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed, which I was shocked at
Yeah.
because, again, another title that's very evocative of what it is.
Well,
Um,
what's really funny is when I sold that, my old manager was the producer on it and great salesman, right? But creatively, not the greatest creative. And but one of the things he said to me was like, let's call it south of the border because that's a bigger, that feels like, more sophisticated, bigger. And I was like, okay, because I didn't know what I was doing. And then when the studio got their hands on it, they're like, well, let's make it Beverly Hills Chihuahua because that just tells you exactly what it is.
No, not you, Patrick.
so, how does that idea come about? How do you start working on Beverly Hills Chihuahua?
Well, I had a dog. We adopted, my wife and I adopted a dog that was like, from one of these rescue places. And she was a mess. She was like this emaciated half mini pincher, half Chihuahua. And she was fixed during a heat cycle, so she had a huge vagina. We used to call her the Chigina. Like this dog was a fucking mess. She attacked everybody. So there were two aspects of her that made the movie. One was she used to always, and dogs will do this all the time. She would bark at the gardeners because of the smells, right? But I would always make this joke. I'd be like, oh, she's like, I'm not Mexican, I'm German, right? She's a self-hating dog, and I'm a self-hating Jew, so it's perfect. And so I was like, oh, well, wouldn't it be great if you had like a dog that was like that Paris Hilton Chihuahua or the Reese Witherspoon from Legally Blonde? And she thought she was from Beverly Hills. Like that's her identity. And then, of course, she gets lost in Mexico and gets in touch with her roots. So that was the first thing. But the other thing was how fierce she was. And the arc of the movie for the lead was always that she had to like find her bark, her inner bark. And it was a small dog, but it had to be a big dog. At least, project like a big dog. So that's how I came up with the idea. Um, and then I pitched it. And what was great was I pitched it to one company, and the guy's like, I don't really get it. I was like, look, I know if you don't like it, but you don't get it. Like it's pretty simple. So I was like, I'm just going to work on TV. And then my manager said, I found this executive who loves the idea, and she had like five cats, two dogs, a bird. Like this is an animal lover. And I pitched it to her, and she had to cut me off after like 6 minutes of the pitch. She's like, I'm sorry, I have another meeting. And I was like, okay, well, they're not going to buy it. And then she just bought it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was good. But doing a pitch is interesting. I was young and green, and I didn't understand how to handle notes. I mean, part of me didn't understand for a long time. But there's things that I loved about it that they just didn't want in it. And I understand why. Like I had this whole thing where, I had the thing where, which I love, where she meets the wild chihuahuas in the mountains.
Mhm.
And there were like the spiritual dogs who are really telling her about her past. But I had her, working out with like the Kung Fu Master version, where she was going to learn how to bark. And, they just didn't want that stuff. Like even like the snake and the mouse, it turned out to be a mouse and an iguana. For me, the joke always was the snake is a vegetarian who pretends to eat the mouse. Um, but for some reason, they were very caught up in the fact that a snake actually eats a mouse. And I'm like, well, that's the joke, right? So they made it an iguana. It's like things like that. There was also a thing where, originally I based it on my template for that movie was It Happened One Night.
Oh,
Uh,
really? That's one of my
yeah, because
favorite films. Yeah.
it's great. It's the best. But like basically it's the same movie. It's the heiress needs someone to help her get home. And she's, there's a payoff. He's gonna get a story, right? And she's gonna get back home. And this was the same thing. It was like, I'm a police dog, I'll bring you back home. She's like, and then I'll get you a job on the police force. I know all the police dogs, right?
Mhm.
So, and it was the same thing. It's a road movie. And it was supposed to be a romantic comedy between the two of them. And then, of course, as my friend would always say, like, oh, and the puppies would be so cute. This is such a great idea. And I got into the meeting with her and the studio exec, and they were like, you got to give her a Chihuahua love interest. She can't be together with this dog. And when I left, I turned to the producer. I was like, "Do they have like a weird like non-interracial like what is that about?" And then my manager, of course, who's so crass, was like, "I think they're thinking that that dick is too big. It's gonna hurt the." And I was like, "It doesn't make any sense." And so like the Poppy, I added this dog Poppy, who's a very well-loved dog, but like it is a little bit of a hink. I mean, the movie works, but it's an extra character. You're like, why is this guy here? And
Mm.
they add a lot of stuff. And like as a screenwriter, it's hard because some things I liked and I don't want to let go of, but some things just don't make sense that they want.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you just got to figure out a way to make it good enough, you
Yeah.
know?
Uh, Making the best
So
you can.
that's the process. But yeah. Yeah, but it happened one night. It's funny. I always wonder if people even know that movie anymore.
One of three movies in history to win Best Picture,
Oh,
Best
comedy, you mean?
Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Screenplay. Can you name the other two?
The Apartment?
Nope.
I don't think I can. I don't even, I mean, The Godfather?
Nope.
Are they modern or old?
One was in the 70s and one was in the 80s.
Oh, Chinatown?
Nope.
Wow.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
Oh
Nest,
yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, and what else?
Silence of the Lambs.
Ah, those are good.
Yeah, very,
All three of them I can't argue with.
yeah, that's amazing. I love that you're doing that. I have a screenplay that is inspired by It Happened One Night. When we get off here, we'll talk about it a little
Oh,
bit.
it's so good though. I mean, like I love the simplicity, that movie.
Mm.
And it's probably like I guess it's like the father of all or the mother of all road movies, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Because they used to hate to do that in Hollywood because they wanted to keep it all on the set.
Yep, the walls of Jericho are coming down.
Yeah, yeah.